Europeans spent half of the last century doing, as far as I can tell, their best to exterminate each other, right? World War I, World War II, and we're talking about people who are as linguistically and culturally similar as France and Germany. So too in Africa there was constant war between different polities, between different ethnic groups, between different kin organizations and nations and empires. And these wars resulted in the capture of others. These wars resulted in ways of thinking about people who are different that mean they can be victims, mean they can be exploited, that mean they can be killed. I'm probably not telling you anything you don't know, but Africa was just as riven by these different ethnic and national identities as any other place on earth. Local Africans at Cabinda, who are Woyo, are glad to sell people who are not Woyo. While they were loading slaves on the Antelope, a privateer appeared. Privateers are sort of like pirates. In fact, in reality, this privateer at law was a pirate. But the difference is a privateer has a commission from the government saying that they are a private vessel of war fighting for our side against some other side. This privateer had a commission from Jose Artigas. You may never have heard of him. If you visit Montevideo, Uruguay, there's an extraordinary monument to Artigas in the center of Montevideo. He was the leader of revolutionary, the Banda Orientale, predecessor to today's Uruguay. The Banda Orientale, Jose Artigas, they were at war with Portugal, they were at war with Brazil, they were at war with Spain, which meant ships of those nations were fair game for such a privateer. The privateer captured the Antelope, marooned the crew in Africa, and took it, as well as several other Portuguese vessels that were there, combining together their cargoes till they had 331 captives, 331 potential slaves that they're now going to take across the Atlantic. They begin to sail across the Atlantic. They are trying to figure out what to do with the captives because a number of nations by this time had made the slave trade illegal. You may or may not know from a history class that in 1807, both the United States and Great Britain acted to outlaw the international slave trade. So too, not many years thereafter, France outlawed the international slave trade. Following that, through international treaties, limitations, and then an end to the slave trade was made with the people in Holland, the Dutch, with the Spanish, and even with the Portuguese eventually, but not yet at this time. The ships were headed to Brazil. But when they arrived at the coast of Brazil, the privateer that had captured the Antelope was wrecked. The ship sank. Captain Metcalf, the privateer commander, it's just like a movie. He's last seen clinging onto a spar, washing away in the storm, and he's lost. And so the Antelope has to continue on alone. The commander of the Antelope, the prize captain, has a very appropriate name for a pirate. His name was John Smith. John Smith. So under the command of John Smith, the Antelope begins to search for a place to sell the cargo of captives. They go to Suriname on the northeast coast of South America. They go to St. Bart's. They go to St. Martin. They go through the Bahamas. They even capture the son of the Spanish governor of Florida and sail to St. Augustine and try to blackmail him into letting them land their slaves and get food and water. Because by that time, the ship was literally running out of both food and water. Sadly, from probably the perspective of the son, the governor of Spanish Florida said, sorry, hang him if you want to. I'm not negotiating with pirates. They didn't hang him, they let him go. In fact, I point out in the book, it's remarkable that they treat this one white captive with such courtesy compared to the fact that the voyage they're embarked on is ultimately going to kill 50 of the 331 captives aboard. It's June 1820. You're sailing through the tropics. You're anchoring off of Suriname in South America, St. Bart's, St. Martin, the Bahama Islands, St. Augustine. Imagine the conditions. Locked below deck, 300 people in a space the size of a 25-yard swimming pool, 4 lanes of it. It is a horrific experience. And as you can imagine, many of the captives begin to die. Those who die are simply slipped over the side. The bodies simply slipped into the water, and the voyage continues. In St. Mary's, Georgia, some of you may know St. Mary's, it was actually